The morning sun bathed the small suburban street in gold, but no one noticed. The world seemed to slow down as the K9, a massive German shepherd named Archer, broke free from his handler and sprinted across the grass. His paws pounded the earth, his eyes locked on the soldier kneeling on the ground, cradling something fragile against his chest. Gasps rippled through the small crowd. Someone shouted to stop the dog. Cameras turned, the officers froze, and then Archer leapt, before we reveal what happened next. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the unbreakable loyalty of animals, please take a second to like this video, subscribe to Pawsitive Tales, and share it with someone who believes in hope. Stories like this remind us that not all heroes wear capes, some wear collars. Just hours before that moment, Sergeant Luke Harmon had returned from his final deployment overseas. After years of service, countless scars, and more losses than he could count, Luke wasn't the same man who had once left home full of dreams. War had hollowed out a part of him, leaving behind shadows where laughter used to live. He had come home not to parades or medals, but to silence, a small rented house, an empty chair where his wife once sat, and memories that clung to him like dust. That morning, Luke had gone for a quiet walk near the police training field. He needed space. He needed to feel normal again. The faint sound of barking in the distance drew his attention. A K9 unit was training nearby. Sharp commands, eager barks, discipline and loyalty on display. He couldn't help but pause, drawn by something familiar in the dog's focus, their obedience, their purpose. It reminded him of his own brothers in arms, men and women who never hesitated to protect one another, no matter the cost. Among the dogs, one stood out, a strong, dark-furred shepherd named Archer. Unlike the others, Archer wasn't just following orders, he was watching Luke. There was something in the dog's gaze that pierced through the soldier's armor of silence, something that looked almost human. Luke gave a small, hesitant smile. But before he could move closer, a sharp command from the trainers pulled Archer back into line. Still, the connection lingered, brief but unshakable. Later that afternoon, as Luke was preparing to leave, a sudden commotion broke out. A car screeched to a stop at the edge of the field, and a woman stumbled out screaming. In her arms, she held a small bundle, a baby, barely breathing. Panic spread fast. The officers called for medical help. But Luke, driven by instinct, ran forward. His military training kicked in, his voice steady even as his hands trembled. He cleared the baby's airway and wrapped the infant in his jacket. The mother wept beside him, her face pale with fear. But in the chaos, something else stirred. Archer, the K9, had broken free from his handler's grasp. He sprinted toward Luke at full speed, growling low. Officers shouted for him to stop, to stand down, but Archer didn't listen. Luke froze, clutching the baby protectively against his chest. Everyone braced for the worst, and then Archer leapt, but he didn't attack. Mid-air, his body twisted, his eyes fixed on something behind Luke. With a fierce bark, he landed between the soldier and a dark shape slinking along the fence, a rattlesnake, coiled and ready to strike. Before anyone could react, Archer lunged again, taking the venomous bite meant for Luke and the baby. The scene froze in stunned silence. The dog whimpered once, then collapsed. The officers rushed forward, confusion and awe written across their faces. Luke, shaking, looked down at the brave animal lying beside him. He realized then Archer had saved them, not because he was ordered to, but because he chose to. They rushed Archer to the nearest veterinary clinic. Hours passed like lifetimes. Luke stayed by his side, refusing to leave even as the vet worked frantically to counteract the venom. The bond between them, born in seconds, felt deeper than words. When Archer's breathing finally steadied, Luke let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. Tears blurred his vision as he whispered, "You did it, buddy. You made it." News of the incident spread quickly. The story of the soldier and the K9 who saved a baby's life made headlines across the state. But for Luke, the real story was something quieter, something no headline could capture. That dog, that moment, had reignited something inside him. For the first time in years, Luke felt purpose again. Over the following weeks, Luke visited Archer daily as he recovered. He brought treats, told him stories from overseas, and found comfort in the dog's silent understanding. The officers noticed the change, too, how the haunted look in the soldier's eyes began to fade each time he walked through the station gates. Eventually, the department decided to retire Archer early, giving him to Luke as his permanent companion. The day Luke brought Archer home, the two stood on the porch in the golden light of evening. Luke looked down at the dog who had changed his life and whispered, "You didn't just save me that day, Archer. You reminded me how to live." Months later, the once broken soldier began volunteering with a program pairing veterans with rescue dogs, teaching both to heal together. Luke and Archer became symbols of resilience, visiting schools and veteran centers, spreading a simple message that loyalty, love, and courage come in many forms, and sometimes they have 4 legs and a wagging tail. People would often ask Luke what went through his mind that day when the K9 leapt toward him. He'd smile softly and say, "I thought I was about to be attacked, but instead I was saved. Not just from danger, but from myself." And every time he said it, Archer would nudge his hand gently, as if to remind him that some bonds don't need words. They just need hearts brave enough to trust again. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who believes in the power of loyalty, and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales. Special request, in the comments tell us what does loyalty mean to you?